Sicario, Day of the Soldado, is directed by Stefano Sollima, not Denis Villeneuve, who directed the first film. And this film is about the ongoing fight against terrorism and drug cartels. And in this case, we get to watch Brolin and Del Toro try to stop people who are secretly assisting terrorists in crossing the border illegally. The first film I thought was very unique, extremely bleak. It didn't have a nice Hollywood ending. It felt like a downer, It wasn't like you left the theater excited or happy. But it was so well directed and very well written by Taylor Sheridan, who returns to write this film. But by far the most surprising aspect of that first film was Alejandro, played by Del Toro. And it was so nice to find out they would make a second one featuring his character because he stole the entire first film. And once again, this character is such a draw. Del Toro plays him so wonderfully. And he's a character that, although he has a moral center, he's certainly not a good guy. He will kill children if he needs to. He'll torture people. He'll go outside of the law to get answers for things that happened to him in the past, but also for trying to protect the country he lives in. And the same goes for Brolin, who is far more intense in this film than he was in the last. In an opening scene, he's interrogating someone, and he threatens to bomb their entire family's house if this person doesn't answer questions. And you can tell he's not bluffing. These aren't the good guys. These are the characters that try to get things done that no one else wants to do. And you don't necessarily root for them. You just sort of sit back in awe at the things they have to do. The action sequences are not helmed from an entertainment point of view. I hesitate to even refer to them as action sequences, really. They're just scenes in which violence occurs. And it's always depicted in a way that makes you feel as if you're there. The violence happens so quick, it's so brutal, and it's extremely efficient, but it doesn't come off as entertainment. Like, shove popcorn in your face and watch these horrific things happen. It's a film that has a message, and just like Taylor Sheridan's directorial effort, Wind River, that film had a very heart-wrenching message about the way Native Americans are treated today, and how they've been treated for a long time, and how terrible it is. And this film decides to focus on what happens to children who are caught in the middle of terrorist acts or the drug world. Many scenes throughout the film highlight this. An early one at a supermarket that's just horrific. And then throughout the film, there's a very common through line with two young people. One boy who's sort of being groomed to be an assassin, or at least be involved in the drug trade in some way. And then a young girl who gets taken. But it's not that she's just kidnapped by the bad guys. She's very much so a pawn. And some people are going to have a problem with this. But this is, in my opinion, a very realistic portrayal of some of the terrible things that go on in the world. And it's not shown in a way, as I said, for entertainment purposes. And I guarantee there will be a lot of critics who have a tough time with this movie because it is very dark and it is very grim. And I have a feeling that some critics are going to let their viewpoints on things perhaps get in the way of this movie and not quite understand the message. Taylor Sheridan is trying to communicate how war, terrorism, and drugs has a terrible effect on children. And I think that message really comes through in the end, especially in an absolutely mind-blowing final scene that did not go the way I thought it would. That's something this film does extremely well. It always sidesteps your normal Hollywood convention of how you would expect a scene to go. When something occurs, it's almost like you can kind of guess how they're going to get out of it or what the end result will be. And in almost every scenario, the scene ended differently. I'm just so glad that Benicio del Toro has his own franchise now. And I'm also really glad that despite the fact that this does not have one of my favorite directors, Denis Villeneuve, helming it, with Taylor Sheridan staying on as a writer, it remains a nice companion piece with that first movie. It's not quite as good just simply because I think Villeneuve and Roger Deakins crafted such a gorgeously, almost perfectly edited film the first time around. But as a story, this second one is actually a lot more complex than the first Sicario, which I rewatched yesterday. So the first film has a very simple story, really. It's basically this one agent, played by Emily Blunt, experiencing the dark drug cartel world, and she finds out there are some secrets. It's really a very basic story that was just elevated by some incredible filmmaking. Sicario 2 is far more complex, really. It shows the effect on children. It shows the moral dilemma that the good guys face when they're trying to get answers. And it does so in a way that does not come off as popcorn entertainment. It comes off as a disturbing exploration of the fact that sometimes there are no good guys. There's just two sides that are both trying to go for different goals. One of them is a little more selfish than the other, and one has the goal of eventually protecting people in a country. But from both sides, you can understand that it's just kind of a gray area. And this film explores that gray area that a lot of films don't have the balls to explore. I'm going to give Sicario Day of the Soldado an A-. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. I did see Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'll have that review to you guys soon. Thank you very much. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmannized.